My task is rather to ensure that the heads of state and of government can collectively agree on an overall strategy for the European Union, both as regards its internal development and in terms of its external relations. I have a weekly meeting with President Barroso. We are both acutely aware of the need to avoid any conflicts of competence or misunderstandings as to who is responsible for what. Public opinion and third countries may well find it difficult to grasp the difference between the President of the Commission and the President of the European Council. I am very confident that we are on the right track. In this context, it is also important to remember that I am President of the European Council and not of the Council of Ministers. These are now separate institutions. The Ordinary Council, which is the other branch of the legislature with the European Parliament, will still be chaired by a presidency that continues to rotate every 6 months among the member states. Only in the configuration of foreign affairs, where it coordinates executive power, does it have a permanent president in the form of Catherine Ashton, Vice President of the Commission and High Representative for Foreign Policy. I pause at this point to pay tribute to the work being done by Catherine Ashton. In facing up to multiple challenges in the field of foreign affairs and security, and in preparing the External Action Service, she deserves our support. It will be my privilege to work closely with her in external representing the Union. Let me just say a few words about the European Council itself. The first formal meeting under my chairmanship will take place at the end of next month. We did, however, have a useful informal gathering of heads of state and of government earlier this month in the Bibliothèque Solvay, just a few hundred meters from here. Whether it was because of the more intimate surroundings of the library or the physical proximity of the Parliament, our discussions were fruitful. As I said, I cannot report any formal conclusions to you from an informal meeting. At most, I can share with you my own personal conclusions from the discussions, which I have set out in a letter to the members of the European Council, and which I know has been circulated within the Parliament. My aim with this informal council was mainly to prepare our future deliberations on the issue of how to improve Europe's economic performance as we exit the immediate economic crisis. This involves looking at our targets and ambitions, and we had a very useful paper from Commission President Barroso on this, but also how to improve our governance of these issues, how we go managing our integrated European economy, the world's largest market, in order to improve our economic performance in one of the central questions facing the European Union. Our initial exchange of view on this involved looking at how we set targets, how we follow them up, how we evaluate results. It is in large part about coordinating the exercise of national competences whilst making full use of the European Union competences and instruments available. It is therefore a task for which the European Council is eminently suited. In the Solvay meeting, all members of the European Council agreed that we need a better but more focused economic coordination in the Union, both for macroeconomic policy, certainly in the euro area, and for microeconomic policy. A lot of this is very technical, but let's just take the idea of bringing down the number of common economic objectives to concentrate on just 4 or 5. These objectives should be quantifiable and divisible in national sub-objectives. It makes no sense to have scoreboards on, say, 65 different data. Moreover, all members of the European Council who are willing to take more responsibility in a common European strategy for growth and jobs. Such personal involvement is indispensable we need to go from paper recommendation to real-life commitment. I was glad to find such a level of ambition around the table. Whether you want to call it better coordination, better governance, or even a gouvernement économique, the key is the common commitment to success. We also had a quick discussion on how to better implement Europe's actions in the reconstruction of Haiti. We want to take this discussion further with an eye to better implementing Article 214 of the Treaty on the Coordination of Humanitarian Aid. A discussion on how Europe should respond strategically to the Copenhagen Conference on climate change will be pursued at the next European Council. Unexpectedly, of course, there was a discussion on the situation in Greece. I took it upon me, myself, to ensure that this was handled in the European Union's institutional framework and not outside it, and that the agreement reached met with the approval of all 27 heads of state and of government, as well as the presidents of the Commission and President of the European Central Bank. This degree of consensus was a message about Greece's acceptance of its responsibility to cut its deficit in a credible way and of our solidarity with it if needed. I very much look forward to hearing your views on all these matters, not least on how we can face all the challenges facing our Union. Mr. President, dear colleagues, I can assure you that I have one overriding goal for the coming years: to ensure that our Union is on track to be strong enough internally to maintain our own social model and externally to defend our interests and project our values. I think that all European institutions can and must work together for those goals. Thank you.